Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Rich Latta here, back with another video. It is official. Stephanie White is now the new head coach of the Indiana Fever. Huge news in the WNBA. Huge news for the Indiana Fever franchise. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and the rest of the squad. This is a solid indication of this Fever front office feeling like the time is now. We're not waiting for years to pass. There's a CBA lockout potentially on the other side of next season, and nothing's guaranteed there. So it's time to go all in. It's time to go all in on the 2023 Rookie of the Year, the 2024 Rookie of the Year, a playoff team. Kelsey Mitchell arguably should have been second team all WNBA. The core is there, and it looks like they're ready to make an impact in free agency as well. We know this, front office, the way they've been moving the last month or so shows they're going to be serious in free agency too. Stephanie White, let's talk about her a little bit. She was coach of the Connecticut Sun, highly touted prospect amongst head coaches in and around women's basketball circles. Former player for the Indiana Fever, former coach of the Fever until the financial situation made it to where it was more lucrative for her to go to college for 6 years. Went 55-25 with the Sun, had them within one game of the WNBA Finals. That was a very offensively challenged team, and she found ways to generate offense and really coach that team up big time. And bringing her in is a sign that the Fever are ready to win. There were, a lot of, I think, misunderstandings with the Chrissy Sides firing. Saw a lot of people, usually these people are folks that are not fans of Caitlin Clark, are saying this is some type of bad decision. What is happening? This is they didn't like that firing. So that's how I knew the Fever were doing something. They were making the right decision. There is a timeline that each team has to compete, whether they are rebuilding, whether they're close to the championship, whether they just won the championship and they're coming off of it. There's a window there. I think the Indiana Fever's window opened a lot quicker than a lot of people anticipated, and good on the management of the Fever for realizing that the time is now. It's time to, Draymond Green had a great quote talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder the other day. It's it's cool that you're young, but your door has opened now. Your window is open. It's time to compete. So Stephanie White basically comes in after Kelly Kroskov was announced as the new president. Amber Cox was the new COO and GM. So they cleaned out that whole, everything. The Lynn Dunn size. Lynn Dunn's now a senior advisor, and Chrissy Sides had to get it like the Red Cross, had to go in the making for a little bit. And Stephanie White was only with the Connecticut Sun for 2 years, and upon her departure from Connecticut, she was telling ESPN that it hasn't been easy. She's, it's been tough being away from her family. It's a professional standpoint, personal standpoint. She feels like this is the best decision. There are people running with that she was fired from the Connecticut Sun. I don't believe that was the case because she still had another year left on her deal. The way this arose is kind of, you look at it and you see the reporting that came out with Sides still being in position with her job. Her departure from the Sun, which is kind of looked at as a parts ways, which tells me Stephanie White went to the franchise and told them that she perhaps has another offer and can, they basically find an out rather than, hey, you fire me, hey, I quit. Just give me this out and allow me to take this other position. That's what I think went on. And then seeing Chrissy Sides just sit out there for a couple weeks as a lame duck, that kind of makes you, feel bad for Sides. But at the end of the day, this is big business potentially, and this team is not playing around with the legacies of their players and the ability to build around them during their rookie contracts. This is, rather than when you have to re-sign Aaliyah in a couple years, when you have to re-sign Caitlin eventually, you can load up. You can trade people like Melissa Smith. You can trade, draft selections that might not seem like they are as worth it, and pair them with players to try to, load up as far as getting someone like a Natasha Howard or Satu Sabali or something like that. Getting more additional bench help, get another guard as well in there. And this is encouraging. I like that Stephanie White is coming in with the exact idea of what this job is. The job is not, hey, just get the team to the playoffs. I heard Elle Duncan, which I'm going to do an entire breakdown of a video that she did with a complete fundamental misunderstanding of what the Indiana Fever job is. Your job is to develop Caitlin Clark and also like maximize her. I don't feel like you can say Christy Sides did that. So Stephanie White is the coach who has acknowledged Caitlin Clark's greatness while in college, while in the pros, said positive things about her, and also like offensively just knows how special she is. And I imagine they're going to go to town in the offseason and in training camp and putting in, the proper offense to maximize her and Aaliyah Boston on that screen and roll to figure out how to make it even easier for Kelsey Mitchell. This is the WNBA turning into the league, and, the Indiana Fever turning into a team that sports fans can recognize these kind of moves. We know what these things are. Like, these are positives. Do not let anyone tell you these are negative moves for the franchise, that they are adding pressure to the players. The players have dealt with pressure their entire careers. These are not rookies, as far as, these are not people that are unexperienced. These people have been, playing in national title games, high-level high school, high-level AAU. They have been winners at every level. And I think it is important to invest in your leadership just as much as, you did in your franchise and, your draft selections and your scouting. Jerry Krause got a lot of things wrong as the manager of the Chicago Bulls, including just saying organizations win championships. But there is a little nugget of truth in that. You're not going to just win with sorry coaching and excellent players. You're not going to win with great coaching and just mid players. There cannot be a weakness. There has to be harmonization in every part of the organization. And the hiring of Stephanie White moves the Fever a little bit closer to that. Now, you just got to build out that bench and worry about what's going to happen with the draft, the expansion draft, worry about who you're protecting, and, figure out, the rest of the coaching staff, specialists you want to bring in, shooting coaches, defensive strategists, or anyone that, is a, specific, whisperer, or so to speak. So this is big news. And it's going to make all these upcoming Connecticut Sun versus Indiana Fever games real interesting. They took the season from the Fever, while the Fever responded by taking their coach. We already know the on-court rivalry between Dejanay Carrington, Caitlin Clark. Alyssa Thomas is there, presumably still. They've got free agency to figure out and all that. But I've been wondering who the rivals for the Indiana Fever are setting up to be. Connecticut Sun is definitely one of them. I think long term, you're probably looking at the Las Vegas Aces. But, I look and think about the career of someone like Michael Jordan. He had to have, the Knicks to go through. He had to go through the Pistons. These are, going to be franchises that, and I know that it's not as divided up like that as far as the playoff seeding. But regional kind of differences and, stuff like that. I think, the Sun in dominating them will be an early key chapter in Caitlin Clark's career, and also by proxy to Indiana Fever right now. If you're a fan of them, the Sun are going to be somebody we're going to have to see, whether they're good or not. That, it's just always going to be there. They're connected now, taking their coach, because they're not moving on from Stephanie White like they are Chrissy Sides. This is she's locked in. So what do you think about Stephanie White coming in? Did this move the Indiana Fever a bit closer to the WNBA championship? Are you kind of skeptical on how this all thing, went down with the weird reporting around Chrissy Sides and the Annie Constable? I believe she put out, all the stories months ago essentially, and was like, yo, this is what's about to happen. And Sides is just kind of, sitting there and all that. So Chrissy Sides did send a tweet that was saying, leave it better than you found it. So it's about as good of a response as you can take to being fired. So I don't know, man. This is going to be interesting, but I'm ready, and, it's time to win, So I'll holla at y'all next time. This is Rich Latta. Peace. One lifetime.